Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Vanguard is 100% client-owned, serving over 50 million investors every day. Whether you're planning for retirement, putting your kids through college, or saving up for your next adventure, Vanguard can help you set personalized investment goals. All investing is subject to risk. Vanguard is owned by its funds, which are owned by Vanguard's fund shareholder clients. Copyright 2024, The Vanguard Group, Inc., all rights reserved, Vanguard Marketing Corporation Distributor.
Paramount Plus is once again your home to stream the NFL on CBS. Follow all the action and stream your live local NFL on CBS game every Sunday, all the way through the AFC Championship. Sign up, sign in, and start streaming Paramount Plus today.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, WeCash is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax-enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think. Stargardt disease was supposed to define me.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down.
A blinding eye disease attempted to force me away from doing what I was born to do.
But it cannot stop me. I have the tools.
I will keep moving forward.
Pushing past the limits of this disability.
I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Great vision doesn't require great sight. Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge in finding treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Make your impact today. Donate now at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-242-3186. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-242-3186. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-242-3186.
Sponsored by Coast One Financial Group.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, this portion of the Zach Gelb Show is sponsored by Hyundai's bold family of EVs that bring a new kind of energy to your journey. The Ioniq 5 and the 5N, Ioniq 6 and Kona Electric, the most electric EV lineup. So as we gear up for week 2 of the NFL season to start tonight with it commencing as the Buffalo Bills will invade Miami Gardens and go up against the Miami Dolphins. When we look at the entirety of the Week 2 slate, Bills, Dolphins, Saints, Cowboys, Bucks, Lions, Colts, Packers, Jets, Titans, 49ers, Vikings, Seahawks, Patriots, Giants, Commanders, Chargers, Panthers, Browns, Jaguars, Raiders, Ravens, Rams, Cardinals, I'm getting out of breath, Steelers, Broncos, Bengals, Chiefs, Bears, Texans, Falcons, Eagles. Who is the coach under the most pressure? I will start with my producer extraordinaire, Stuart Kovacs.
I think of all the coaches right now, I would say Robert Saleh of the Jets is under the most pressure. Now, look, they lost to the 49ers. That's not on paper the biggest of deals. The 49ers might be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. But you have the Titans this week, followed by the Patriots and Broncos the next 2 weeks. I think you have to win all 3 of those games because these are 3 of the 5 or 6 worst teams in the league on paper. You cannot lose these games. You got to take advantage of these early season cupcakes, if you will. And if they lose to the Titans this week, that's 0-2 for a coach that was kind of on shaky ground this offseason. Obviously, the window is very short with Aaron Rodgers. I think Saleh needs a win big time here on Sunday against the Titans.
He doesn't only need a win. He has to blow out Tennessee. And that defense has to perform at a very high level. Because it's one thing to lose to the 49ers, but when you allow Jordan freaking Mason to pop off against you with McCaffrey out, and you're supposed to be this defensive-minded guru of a head coach, like, it's one thing your offense stinks. For your defense to stink when that's the strength of your team, unacceptable. So I'm with you, Stu. I think it's a tremendous answer. All righty, Botcher, what do we got cooking? What do you got for us, boy wonder?
Brian Dable, other side of New York, just because you're playing the Commanders. They're not a good franchise either. You have already questions about Daniel Jones. They should be starting or not.
There's no more questions about Daniel Jones. He's done. He stinks. He's terrible.
Well, yeah, he's better than Tommy DeVito, though.
I don't know about that. I'm serious. Hey, the Giants' offense at times looked competent last year with Tommy DeVito as quarterback. And also, I don't want to get whacked if I don't pick Tommy DeVito with his chicken cutlet-eating family.
But on top of that, he had the pressure last year with his DC with Wink, and it just seems like there's tension in that building, so he's under most pressure.
Yeah, I didn't think Joe Shane nor Brian Daboll would get fired at the end of the year because I thought the Giants were going to be bad, but I didn't think they were going to be embarrassing. They were embarrassing after that Vikings game. And here's the one thing about Daniel Jones. He does play well up against the Commanders. So, or, whether the Redskins, Commanders, whatever they were called. He does play well up against them. So it's a spot where I think this game could go either way, but how can you expect the Giants to win a game right now? I'm serious. Like, at least the Commanders have I know their defense stinks, but at least they have Jaden Daniels, and it's like, okay, I could get behind that and that being exciting. All righty, my coach under the most pressure, it's Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor was nothing as a head coach before Joe Burrow got there. Now, I'll give him credit. They performed well last year, even without Joe Burrow. But you have a team that has Super Bowl expectations. Jamar Chase will eventually get a deal done. And T. Higgins is probably out at the end of this year. This is an all-in year, or it should be an all-in year for the Cincinnati Bengals. And you lose the first game of the season. I didn't like Stu's comment, by the way. He said the Patriots were one of the bottom 5 teams in the league. We are 1-0. I know you don't know how to relate to that because you're a Raiders fan and your team's 0-1, but the Patriots are 1-0. So that's not bottom 5 after 1 week of the season. So put some respect on Gerard Mayo, Jacoby Brissett's name for crying out loud, all right? Put some respect on our name. We are the Patriots. See what happens after they play Seattle this weekend. That could come back to burn me. But, you look at the Bengals. I know they always start off slow and they find a way to pull a rabbit out of the hat. But if you start off 0-2, and it's possible because you're going to Kansas City, geez. I know after that you play the Commanders and the Panthers, so you'll survive and you'll be 2-2, but it'll be a bad look. And if the Bengals don't make the playoffs this year and Burrow's healthy, you could look for a coaching change to happen in Cincinnati. I don't think it's crazy. So this is a big spot for Zach Taylor to kind of calm people and weather the storm after what was a disgraceful performance up against the Patriots. Because even though I was just kidding with Stu a little bit, yeah, the Patriots are a bottom 5 team this year in the NFL. Just not after week 1. A lot of people were annoyed that I didn't put the Patriots in the top 5 of the Zach Gale power rankings after week 1. They did beat the Bengals. Christian Gonzalez is a stud. All righty, fun show today. We will be back tomorrow on a big football Friday. Big thanks to Mike Prater joining us, KTIK host at the Ticket, as Boise State and 3 other schools are going to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is back. And also, I'd like to thank Merrill Hodge for joining us. Big thanks to Ryan Botcher, Ryan Hickey, Stuart Kovacs, Crystal Presti, and each and every one of you. We'll do it all again tomorrow on a big Friday show at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We out. Bye-bye. Peace. And happy birthday, David Tepper.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? The stress from excessive credit card debt can ruin your life. Collection calls, sleepless nights. If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it. And the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Do you have a special needs child or an older adult in your home? The risk of them leaving the house unnoticed is real and terrifying, but you can protect your loved ones with Vivint Home Security.
Alarm on.
Our child has autism. He doesn't usually elope, but one day he did, and it was the most terrifying moment of our lives.
If I didn't have a home security system, I would have realized way too late he's gone.
Right now, Vivint is offering a free doorbell camera with any new plan, plus free installation and low monthly monitoring plans. Smart locks, lights, cameras, and more make Vivint Home Security the smartest way to protect your family and prevent a tragedy. Vivint is the #1 smart home service provider in the U.S. Protection is just a phone call away. Call 800-953-6693. That's 800-953-6693. Monthly service agreement required for free installation.
Fellow Americans, former CIA officer Jason Hansen here to invite you to a special financial briefing this Thursday. As a former CIA officer, I've used my expertise to protect myself, my country, and my family from threats for decades. Now I'm recommending all of security from threats to the U.S. dollar. That's what Thursday's exclusive Financial Security Summit will focus on. You'll get top strategies for safeguarding your wealth no matter what challenges may come our way. During this summit, you'll discover how to create a bulletproof financial plan that can potentially withstand the death of the dollar and possibly even thrive in the face of an economic collapse. Call my friends at Advantage Gold today at 800-741-GOLD to register at no cost whatsoever. In today's uncertain times, it's critical to have a solid plan in place to protect your finances. Call 800-741-GOLD now to register for this 100% free event. Again, 800-741-GOLD.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-242-3186. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-242-3186. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-242-3186.
Sponsored by Coast One Financial Group.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in today to another edition of Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis. We are here on this Good Friday Eve, listening to some of the good sounds of Frankie Beverly and Mays. Want to say rest in peace to a legend in Mr. Frankie Beverly. Did so much for music and just for the community in general. So definitely want to wish our condolences to his family and to his loved ones. Folks, want to thank everybody that's been watching with us all week long as we made it all the way to this Thursday, and we've got some football kicking off tonight once again, not only on the NFL level, but on the high school level as well right here in the Central Texas area, as the University Trojans will be taking on the China Spring Cougars at WISD Stadium tonight, and I will try to make my way over to that game after today's show is over with. Like I said, make sure you guys go on to the YouTube if you want to watch this content weekdays 5 to 7 on YouTube, Centex Sports Network, or Centex Sports TV on YouTube. You can watch there. If you want to listen or watch this content, you can go to CentexSports1.com and be able to listen to this content or watch on there. Or you can download the app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store at CentexSports1.com. or Centex Sports One, the app. Well, folks, a lot of good football coming up this weekend, and it is that time of year where we'll have football from Thursday through Monday all the way until probably about January, middle of January. So one of the best times of the year as we're heading into week 2 of the NFL, heading into week 3 of high school football and college football as well. I'm on here joined by Kyrell Gibson, who is on here with me. We'll have PJ Gaither on just a little bit later with us as well. Kyrell, can you hear me over there, and what's going on?
I got you loud and clear, man. Just trying to get these lineups in for tonight's game, man.
Hey, I understand. I was on here looking at some last-minute people, see if it's some picks I can pick up tonight before the game starts with Miami and Buffalo. That'll be kicking off at a little bit after 7. So, like I said, a lot of good football going on. Starting tonight, we've got the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Also, like I said, China Spring and University, 2 local teams here in the greater Waco area, will be kicking off here tonight at about 7 o'clock. So right after today's show is over with, they'll be kicking off there. Want to talk some college football, folks, as we get ready for the college football weekend, and we'll round it out near the second hour with some NFL football as well. We'll preview some of the NFL games for this weekend, and we'll get you right if you're making your parlays or if you're trying to put together some of your picks. We'll give our predictions on some over and unders as we get through the NFL games later in the show today. I do want to start with something I seen on Instagram earlier as it relates to college football. We know that Colorado, a team that we've been talking about the last couple days here, they are starting off they started off their season 1-1 after picking up a win against North Dakota State before they dropped a game against Nebraska 28-10 last weekend in what was a disappointing loss for the Colorado Buffaloes. And they look to get back in the win column this weekend, taking on a rival school, one of their rivals in the Colorado State Rams, a game that was really close last year. I think it was 42-35 was the final score in that one. And teams are already talking noise to each other, as to be expected. Remember last year, their head coach came out and said he's a grown man and he takes his hat and glasses off when he talks to people. I still don't know what that means, but he said he takes his hat and his glasses off whenever he talks to people because that's how men do it and, all this kind of stuff. And him and Dion had some back and forth in their meeting last year. So coming up into this game, of course, somebody interviewed some of the players for the Colorado State Rams. Not really sure, what site this was on, but some of their players got interviewed, including one of their top receivers and who definitely had a huge impact on the game last year against Colorado, and Torrey Horton. They asked him about Colorado and the matchup this year and the matchup last year and how does he think that's going to change this year. He says, I don't feel like we left it all on the field because we should have murdered those guys last year. Those were his words. And Braden Fowler, another player for Colorado State, said, we'll see how far the Instagram followers get them. So they're already starting with the same narrative from last year. Colorado is worried about clicks, as Dan Lanning said, the head coach of Oregon last year before he beat down Colorado. And now Colorado State kind of piggybacking off of that idea with this team just plays for clicks. And they said, we'll see how far the Instagram followers get them. So they're trying to, get the rivalry stirred up before the game on Saturday. I'm not sure how much that's going to hurt or help them. Hopefully this gives some bulletin board material to the Colorado Buffaloes, and they'll take this and take it personal, as Colorado said a lot last year. We need to see some of that personalness again this year when they take on this Colorado State team. So, Kyrell, what do you think about, I guess, not only this matchup coming into this weekend with Colorado versus Colorado State, but what do you think about some of the comments that the players made or that the players said leading up to this game?
I love it, man. This is the same kind of stuff that kept us engaged with Colorado. Being probably one of the best last year. Like, this is the kind of stuff we like. It's kind of like a philosophical. It's like two coaches in football clash, and can you be loud and rambunctious and whatever you want to call Colorado versus probably a coach that's more traditional, a team and program that's more traditional based, compared to Colorado. And I think I love it. Like, I love anything that breeds rivalry, tension, competitive hatred, So I see these comments when I think about the comments made by the coaches last year, I know that's going to be something that the players are going to lean into. You just don't sit around and just like, oh, I don't care. They may say that, some players may say that, but I know Shador cares. Like, it's my pops, man. Like, nah, I'm trying to embarrass these dudes. And the fact that they got embarrassed last week against Nebraska, I'm expecting them to come back and really, hey, like, we're not going to do this again. I think it was a 7 or 8 game losing streak last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have to be hungry to not like go down the same path. They got to go out there and beat up on those dudes, man. It's Colorado State. If you're not going to get pushed in those trenches against anybody else, it's be this team right here. If you want to I'm not too familiar with the landscape out in Colorado, but I'm sure this is a big brother and little brother program. So you don't want to go out there and lay an egg or let all these words get minced out, or let all these words come out, and then you go out there and get pushed around. So I'm really just interested to see how they respond to these words, how they respond to last week, and can we get some momentum, man? This is the best story in college football to me. It has been for the last 2 years. When's it going to be a con in the story, like a positive and climaxes? So I wanted to start this week, and if I look at Shador, I look at Travis, and I look at this team, this got to be the one where it's like, hey, this is the turnaround. You guys have been got beat up on last week, beat up in the media, and I was one of them. So, right, let's turn it around. Like, if you don't need any more motivation, like, they're talking crap. They've been talking crap. Last year, it's on your coach, it's on your players, on the state of football. It's like, and then it's like culture war in football, man. Like, we talk about this. This is trust, this is trust versus whoever you want to date. Antitrust, really. Like, so it's Lamar versus everybody else, man. There's so many levels to this at every facet of the game, man. This is the you versus the landscape. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta get it done. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. They got to get it going, and it's got to be this weekend. The games aren't going to get any easier for Colorado as their season progresses. They've got Colorado State this weekend, but after that, they're really going to start in their Big 12 gauntlet. They got Baylor, UCF, Kansas State, Arizona right after that. Those are all, winnable but losable games, especially as you get further in and get to Kansas State and Arizona. You still got Utah on the schedule. You still got Kansas on the schedule. Still got Oklahoma State on the schedule. So this has got to be the week you turn it around. We got PJ Gaither in here with us as well, folks, and I'll get his opinion on what me and Kyrell were just talking about a second ago. And the quote was from their top receiver, Torrey Horton, "I don't feel like we left it all out on the field. We should have murdered those guys last year." And Braden Fowler for Colorado State also said, "We'll see how far the Instagram followers gets them." PJ, me and you were kind of talking about this over the phone the last couple of days, and this Colorado team and some of the stuff they have to do to turn this around. But what do you think? What do you think about the comments from the Colorado State players? And then what do you think about what Colorado has to do coming into this game this weekend against Colorado State at Colorado State?
I just think the trash talk is really just good old-fashioned trash talk, to be honest. That's how they feel. They got all the right to say whatever they want. You know what I mean? We looking at a Colorado team where I don't see no outrage in it just because you see a Colorado team that they got vlogs, they got YouTube pages, Instagrams where they've been talking all off season. All off season. Leading up, they've been saying stuff, themselves. They got, some of these dudes got podcasts and stuff. So, it's just good old fashioned, trash talking. If Colorado is, anything like I think that they are, as far as being competitive, they should take that to heart and, go out there on the field and show them otherwise. You know what I mean? So, it's football, man. Dudes gonna talk. It's up to you to go out there and, prove a point on your end.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's up to you. Just like you said, it's up to Colorado to turn the tide around. And we've talked enough about, the flaws of this team and what they got to try to do. It's put up or shut up time right now. You got to come out here this weekend. And like Kyrell said, you got to make a statement. You got to beat up on these dudes. You can't just come out. It don't need to be another 42-35 game again like last year. This needs to be a beat up. This needs to be you punching on your little brother before he can punch back. That's what this needs to look like tomorrow or on Saturday when they take on Colorado State. Because if you give these dudes too much hope, last year it was a close game in Boulder. Now you're going to be at Colorado State this time. They're going to have a home crowd with them. And you don't have much momentum after last game against Nebraska. So you got to do everything in your power to try to turn this around. So we'll see how Colorado fares this weekend against Colorado State. that's going to be one of the bigger games of the weekend, not because of who's playing or not because of the two teams' record or anything, but honestly just because of Deion. It'll be on CBS. It's at 6:30 around that primetime television time. Again, they played at 6:30 last weekend. They're back on TV at 6:30 again. Time to put up or shut up. Shador, after, you had a lot to say on your podcast and you wanted to clear the narrative about what people said about you, hey, man, I need 500 yards this weekend. I'm taking the over on Shador this Saturday. I'm going to need 500 yards out of Shador this weekend. No playing around. And if he doesn't have 500 yards, there needs to be 100-plus yards of rushing. One of those two got to get figured out. Either you got to throw the ball and you got to be successful doing that, or y'all got to figure out how to run the ball. But whatever happened last week, that can't happen this week. And since we're talking about this Colorado team and this Colorado State team, is only right to bring in the breaking news of what kind of happened earlier today with news around the new look Pac-12, potentially. The Pac-12, that's the Pac-2 right now, looking to expand to, I guess, the Pac-6. They'll still be named the Pac-12, but reports came out that the Pac-12 is looking to add some more teams in. News emerged Wednesday night that Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State will leave the Mountain West Conference and join Oregon State and Washington State in the Pac-12. What is right now, like I said, the Pac-2, but they're still called the Pac-12. They'll join them and make a 16 division in 2026 and 2027 academic year. We know UCLA and USC left. Cal and Stanford left and went to the ACC. So with this new news coming out, the Pac-12 trying to revive themselves after pretty much taking a year off this year, and something I thought they should have did last year. I don't know what took them so long to add these Mountain West teams. I thought they would have did it as soon as USC and UCLA and Utah and all these guys left. I thought they would have immediately went to the Mountain West Conference because it only makes sense, and started pulling teams up from there. Similar to the Big 12 when they lost Texas and Oklahoma, they immediately added some teams that fit right into the Big 12 culture, like a U of H or a UCF. I thought, the Pac-12 would have did that, but for whatever reason they didn't. They kind of took this year off. Only two teams in the Pac-12 this year are Oregon State and Washington State. So it's really a Power 4 conference. They're trying to get it back to a Power 5 conference with adding these teams. I'm not really sure if they'll be considered Power 5 or how does that really work. I mean, you add in Fresno State, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State. San Diego State, somebody I thought they should have been added. Not really sure what took so long. And Boise State. Boise State for years has had good teams. They probably got the best running back in the nation right now. So Boise State, a team that I thought probably should have been added. Colorado State and Fresno State, it's kind of just, they add them. They're trying to fill up spots here, and we'll see how it plays out. And this, I'm interested to see if, teams like Cal and Stanford will come back. I don't know how that will really work with them just joining the ACC this year, but it really makes no sense for them to be in the ACC. It's a 4-hour flight, 4 or 5 hour flight every time you got to play a game. You have to go way to the other side of the country. You're not going to compete in the ACC at all. You might as well come back to this Pac-12, and, anybody got a chance to win that with the teams we just named. I think they're looking at Tulane and Memphis as well as potential teams to add. I'll keep an eye on teams like UNLV that are also in the Mountain West Conference, and they might try to come over other teams in the Mountain West as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they added a Hawaii, somebody that was already in the Pac-12 at one point. So we'll see how they try to add that out, and I'm interested, like I said, to see what Cal and Stanford do. They have no business in the ACC at all. And, PJ, I'll let you take off on this because you were kind of alluding to this before the show started today. What do you think about this potential new look big Pac-12?
I like it. And I got 6 more teams to add on to make it a true Pac-12 again.
Who you got?
I like San Diego State. I've always liked San Diego State. San Diego State really always been a powerhouse out west. And even Fresno State. Fresno State been had some really good years where they've won some bowl games.
Yeah. Devontae Adams, Derek Carr.
Boise been good for a while. So I like them being added. Colorado State, I just feel like they just was trying to add a little extra, person in, and that was the one school. Now to get to my 6 schools, I agree. Cal and Stanford, y'all need to lead the ACC. You're not going to win anything. You haven't won anything yet in years, even when you was in the Pac-12. So you might as well just go back to where you used to being at, because you're not going to do anything in the ACC. Nobody want to go to your school. Y'all really just get the leftovers of a lot of guys in the West Coast who probably didn't get no offers from USC, and so they just choose to go to your school. So Cal and Stanford, go back to the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, to Pac-12.
Yeah, to the Pac-12.
You're not going to win anything. You're going to get blown out in the ACC, and the ACC not even that good. So you just go ahead and go back over there. So that's 2. We at 8. The next 2, UNLV, I feel like they'll fit very good into the new Pac-12. Slept on school, then had a few really, really good seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, they just slept on, never was really in the Power 5 conference. So if you don't really pay attention to college football, really, then you wouldn't even know that they really be having some really good teams at UNLV every once in a while. So I think they'll really benefit by being in the Pac-12 again. And then I got Arizona State. Y'all just need to lead the Big 12. You're not going to win anything. Lead the Big 12. I don't see y'all really being any type of recruiting powerhouse or anything like that, man. Just go back to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So we in the last 2, UCLA. Leave the Big Ten. You're not nothing. You're not winning nothing. You're not winning anything. Y'all not getting no recruits. Y'all in the same bed as Cal and Stanford. Y'all get the leftovers of the guys who didn't get any type of looks from USC, and so they're mad. And so they go to y'all school. But you're still not winning.
No.
When the last time UCLA been even, like, I'm talking about just decent?
I mean, it's been a minute, man. I can't think of the last really good UC. I know they had a good ending to their season. I think that was about 3 years ago, but a team that really just made noise, I can't think of it.
Yeah, they trash. Like, just go back to the Pac-12. Go back to the Pac-12. You're not winning nothing in the Big Ten. The last school, it could be Hawaii.
Yeah, I want to see Hawaii back in the Power 5.
Yeah, I feel like Hawaii would benefit in that Pac-12 for sure. And they're another school who you see these dudes, they go to bowl games like year in, year out. Even if it is the smaller bowl games, they still make some noise. You know what I mean? So I would like to see Hawaii in the Power 5 for sure in the Pac-12. And I'm going to be honest, if you don't put Hawaii in, if Colorado goes 4-8 again this year,
they got to go back.
And if Deion Sanders leaves, just go ahead and take them out the Big 12. They're going to get killed. If Deion leave after this season because they done went 4-8, they're going to get killed if they stay in the Big 12. You might as well just go ahead and throw them into the Pac-12. They got a way better chance of competing in the new look Pac-12. If it looks like that, how I just described it, if it looks like that, they got a way better chance of competing in that conference than competing in the Big 12.
Yeah.
That's only if they have another down season and Deion Sanders ends up leaving after this season.
Yeah.
If he leaves, then all the attention is going to leave. All your recruits are going to leave. They're not going to have no reason to be going to the school. You know how people are going to do, man. Once Deion gone,
they're gonna flood. They're gonna flood out of there if Deion leaves. And if Deion leaves, just to piggyback off your point, if Deion leaves, they got to go to the Mountain West because they're done. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
if Deion leaves, they got to go to the Mountain West. Forget the Pac-12 and the Big 12. They got to go to the Mountain West. But I wanted to ask you before I come back to you, Kyrell. What do you think, PJ, about if they do add, some of those teams like they said, and even if they add a couple of the teams that you mentioned, or maybe they even they're in talks with, I think, Memphis and Tulane to add some of them. Is this considered a Power 5, or is this more like the American Conference or something? I mean, is that enough to be considered a Power 5 conference if they even add those guys back in, like you said?
It's a step up from the American Conference.
Okay.
So you can consider, and it's barely a step up. The only reason why it would be a step up is if, like, all the teams that I spoke on, like a UCLA, Cal, Stanford, those guys are a step up from the American Conference. Probably not due to their performance on the field, but just as far as notoriety for their schools, they really are a step up from any school that is in the American Conference. Me personally, I don't want to see – I named all those schools for a reason because if you notice, all the schools I named are West Coast schools.
Yeah.
And the Pac-12 was originally a West Coast conference. So seeing them go back to something similar to that, to me, makes sense because a lot of these conferences right now, probably outside of the SEC, barely, with the SEC, but a lot of these conferences don't make sense. So if you add Tulane, which is a school in New Orleans, and then you add Memphis, which is all the way down, in Tennessee, it don't make sense for them to go into the Pac-12. Geographic-wise, it don't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Just leave it as a West Coast conference, just like how the Southeastern Conference is predominantly Southern teams. They're all Southern schools.
Yeah, I agree. I think they got to keep if they're going to redo the Pac-12, they got to do as good of a job as they can of keeping it with West Coast schools because the conferences are just all jacked up right now, and it's showing up in people's play, and it's going to show up in more people's play as we get further, especially in conferences like the Big Ten, where you got people just going all over the places. You might have 2 5-hour flights and back-to-back weekends. So if they do revive the Pac-12, I think, like you said, they should keep it with some of those West Coast teams. But I want to get Kyrell in on this. What do you think, man, about this potential new Pac-12 and I guess what it could look like with them saying they're going to add Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and let me look who the last one was, and San Diego State and Colorado State that we'll see this weekend. What do you think about the potential new look Pac-12?
Yeah, man. We always knew this was going to happen. When these super conferences start to get built, somebody was going to get it better. I'm just happy it's not 12.
Yeah.
But, this was going to happen. Replacing these teams, Fresno State, Colorado State, you're on your way to being the new conference. Okay. You're going to lose some prestige. It's just the way it's going to work. Like, they wanted to stay relevant, man. Should have figured out a way to keep their schools. But since they went to the Big Ten, but nobody wants to see USC, Washington playing those schools. And want to see them play virus. See them in the Big Ten. That's just the way it's going. It's over with. There's no reviving Pac-12. You can add as many schools as you want to. But the rest of y'all start doing some SMU, one of these schools start doing some SMU stuff, it's not happening. They're going to have to sign some. I don't know if somebody can get a hold of that dynasty, man, and start signing some 5-stars out there because Travis Hunter's, but it's not happening.
No.
I think Colorado has to deal in the Big 12, and that should have been a team that they targeted heavily. It's when all this change is being made. But losing out on those teams, man, like, this is old news. I don't know who's excited about it, but I'm not. Game's gonna be on the CW.
It's gonna come on after All American.
Right, and you ain't gonna be able to tell which one was which. Talking about Fresno State. What's that? On Channel 17.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of the teams that they're adding. I mean, I like San Diego State and I like Boise State, and I think they probably should have been in. But if they don't get some more attraction and they just end up staying as the Pac-6 with Oregon State and Washington State being your leaders in that conference, then I really only got one reaction to hearing that, and that's it's the only reaction. I don't feel the Pac-6. No one wants to see that, man. No one wants to see that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Nobody wants to see that. The Pac-6 is ugly. They got to add some more teams, and they got to get their teams back. They got to get Cal back. They got to get Stanford back. I think UCLA, PJ, is probably too far gone at this point. They're going to try to stick it out, at least for, until the TV contract is up. They'll probably stick it out 5 or 6 years. They'll win 2 conference games every year and eventually get tired of getting their head punched in, and they'll come back over to the Pac-12 eventually. But as it starts and it's just a Pac-6 to start it off, I don't know, man. That's nasty work. Fresno State versus Washington State as your premier game in the Pac-12, that's nasty work. I don't think anybody wants to see that. So we'll see how this news progresses. Like I said, breaking news that came out last night about this potentially new look Pac-12. So we'll see how they decide to go about that as we get further and further along here in the season, fellas, and if somebody will decide they want to join them. Folks, we want to thank everybody for watching with us. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come right back as we're going to preview some of these games for this coming up weekend. You are watching Centex Primetime right here on Infinity Sports Radio, Central Texas, and on Centex Sports Network as well. We'll be right back.
The East Waco Empowerment Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop and Business Opportunities to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org. Space.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blazing Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blazing Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime right here on Infinity Sports Radio, Central Texas, and also on Centex Sports Network. Want to thank everybody for watching with us today. Like I said, make sure you guys go over to the YouTube and check us out, Centex Sports Network or Centex Sports TV. Also, you can download the app Centex Sports One or you can go to CentexSports1.com if you want to listen to this content weekdays 5 to 7. Here joined with PJ Gaither and Kyrell Gibson as we are going to preview some of the college games that we got coming up this weekend. And, folks, we've got some good ones coming up this weekend. Not a lot of the huge, top 10 matchups that we got a chance to see maybe over the last couple weeks, but still some really good games on the schedule and ready to go for this Saturday. And we got a really good one starting in the Big 12. We know we definitely pay a lot of attention to the Big 12 here in the Central Texas area and here on Centex Primetime. We kind of focus in on the Big 12 at times, and best game this weekend might be a Big 12 game coming up this week, and that is number 20 Arizona taking on number 14 Kansas State, two of the top teams in the Big 12 this year so far, at least. Both teams coming in at 2-0. Arizona, a 2-0 record. Kansas State with a 2-0 record. We know Arizona had that receiver, McMillan, that kind of just lit the nation on fire in week 1 with the 300-yard performance. And we kind of previewed him and talked about him before the season started as being one of the better receivers in the nation. But nobody was expecting that type of performance, and he's been playing great so far this year, and even though it's only been 2 games. And Kansas State, a team that I picked to win the Big 12 this year, they're 2-0 coming into this game as well. They're playing this game in Manhattan, Kansas. It'll be at home with them. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to catch this game. This game is going to be on a Friday as well. So if you're not watching some Friday Night Lights that we got a chance to talk about yesterday, some of these football games, high school football games coming up in the Central Texas area, then you could catch this game on Fox, 7 o'clock, number 20 Arizona versus number 14 Kansas State. And PJ, I'll start with you on this, man. What do you think about this matchup, this Big 12 matchup early in the season with really two of the better teams in the Big 12 that'll be happening on Friday?
I like it. It's gonna be a really good showdown. These two teams, honestly, they're considered, the cream of the crop whenever you speak on the Big 12 right now. Definitely Kansas State, Arizona. They're a newcomer, but have a really good team. Supposed to have a really good team, and I just want to see how they're going to face up against Kansas State. I feel like both teams really face up against each other pretty good matchup-wise. Kansas State has a really good defense. They tend to suffocate the offense, just swarming around the quarterback, and their DBs are pretty solid. But I really want to see they're going to be tested against Arizona, who has a really good passing game and got a quarterback that's able to hit his receivers. So I think this game is going to be really good, and it's going to showcase just how good the Big 12 is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Still considered a Power 4. So I feel like that is going to make some people really kind of respect the Big 12, definitely this season, where to me I feel like they have way more, just way more parity this year.
Yeah.
For sure. It's open to anybody. So I'm excited about this game. I'm going to tune in for sure tomorrow on Friday.
Yeah, really excited about this game. And Arizona, they've got a lot to prove as they had a not-so-good outing last week against Northern Arizona, a team that they are probably supposed to manhandle. And they won that game by 12 points, they won that game 22-10. But going into the locker room at halftime, they were down. It was 10-6, and Northern Arizona was winning that game. And, that's the reason before the season that I didn't really pick Arizona to be that top team in the Big 12 because they've got a lot of question marks on their defense. Their offense can be explosive, but if they're not hooking up with McMillan and their quarterback Fafita, then this offense is kind of pedestrian, and that's going to hurt them against a Kansas State team who I think Avery Johnson, the quarterback of Kansas State, has looked really good. I think their running game has been stout all season, even though it's only been 2 games. But they've got multiple options with Giddings in the backfield, and then they got the Colorado transfer in Edwards in the backfield as well, and he scored last week as they beat Tulane in a close game. But I'm excited to see this one. Kyra, any thoughts about Kansas State versus Arizona game that we'll get to see on Friday?
Yeah, welcome to the Big 12. This is not going to be close. I did not respect the New Mexico win, and then that double down that you play for Arizona. Lose at halftime to the FCS. Yeah, this isn't about close. I'm not really a fan of their offense. I know they put up 60 points in that first week, but I think Kansas State is going to be a favorite in the Big 12. Yeah, I think their ranking is wrong. They won't spend much time in the top 2. I don't see them being too many teams in the Big 12, and I think they're going to get and wait and take this.
Yeah, so like you said, I agree. Wasn't impressed by Arizona and their start, even after the electric start they had with their receiver. But I got Kansas State in this one. Kansas State a 7-point favorite coming into this game, and I'll probably take those points, man. I think Kansas State's gonna take care of this game really without much problem in this one. So we'll see that game. That game will be on Friday. Both 2-0 teams, like I said. To another 2-0 game, or a matchup of 2-0 teams that'll be taking place on Saturday, one that kind of is flying under the radar a little bit, but after what we saw last week, this game, everybody should be tuning into this game to see what's going to happen here. In Alabama Crimson Tide, number 4 team in the nation, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers. They're playing at Wisconsin. This is almost like a trap game if you're Alabama, because you're going to go in, Wisconsin's not even ranked. You don't expect much out of them, not a lot to write home about with this Wisconsin team. But they're coming into this 2-0. They didn't have, a crazy hard schedule as their first 2 games, but they still took care of business and able to win their games. And Alabama was very, very unimpressive last week in their win. I know the score ended up being 42-16 in the game, but this game going into the fourth quarter was a 14-13 game, Alabama with a 1-point lead, taking on USF. Now, come on, y'all. Now, for an Alabama team, that's not what you're expected to see. And I know they're ranked number 4 in the nation. I actually expected them to drop down some in the AP polls, but you know how they love Alabama, so they kept them there. I expected them to drop down some after having a performance like that against a USF team that has really no expectations this year, especially with competing with the top team in the nation like in Alabama. So that's why I look at this as a trap game. ESPN Analytics has this one 92% pick, a 92% chance of winning for Alabama. They're a 16-point favorite in the game, but I'm not too sure about that, man. Not just because Wisconsin are just world beaters, but really just because of how Alabama has looked last week taking on a USF team. I mean, if USF can keep them 14-13 going in the fourth, Wisconsin's got a chance. I'm tempted to take the points here at plus 16 with Wisconsin just because I think they've got a chance going to this. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama came in and blew them out, but this is definitely one of those games you got to keep an eye on coming into the game. PJ, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin really got a chance to pull off an upset. It's possible, I would say. It's possible. I mean, we've seen Alabama struggle against USF last week, so I don't see any reason why we would say that they'll go into this game and just blow out Wisconsin whenever I'm sure we all will agree that Wisconsin is way better than USF.
Yeah.
We think they are as a program. So, I mean, yeah, like I always say, time gonna tell, but I do think that this game is gonna be a lot closer than what some people probably think it will. I think some people think that, Alabama's just gonna go into this game and steamroll over Wisconsin, but I think Wisconsin is gonna, they're gonna kind of shock a few people. And it's not necessarily that they're so good, but it's probably just because Alabama probably go into the game and start slow. They might start off slow, and at the end of the day, Wisconsin is still a Big Ten school. So just as many athletes that Alabama have, they might not have as many, but they got some athletes of their own too.
Yeah, they're no slouch. They're no slouch at all. Wisconsin, I mean, over the years, they always find a way to kind of be one of those teams, the upstate. They remind me like an Iowa State type of team. They're just always there for an upset and they're always sticking around to be able to upset somebody. So keep your eyes on this one, folks, as we go into the weekend. Kyrell, any thoughts about this Wisconsin versus Alabama game? I think this is an 11 o'clock game on Saturday. Alabama going to Wisconsin to take on the Badgers.
Yeah, 11 a.m. I'm kind of coming from the place where this is going to be, we're going to really witness Alabama's culture, right? Like, they know they didn't play well at the end of that game against USF. I mean, for most of the game against USF.
Mm-hmm.
And, despite the score, and I think those coaches over there are going to be highlighting that. That's just what happens. Yeah, don't look at it. You heard it so many times, like, we're not looking at the score. Like, the film is going to tell a lot, and they're probably going to get ripped into this today. So I'm expecting them to come out and really punish Wisconsin. I think we're going to have a justification of their ranking and the skill that they have. Again, I know Wisconsin is 2-0, but I really like those wins. I know it's they play certain style football. I look for them to put all points. But I'm just expecting, because, I know Saban's gone, but I don't really think he's gone. I feel like he's like the ghost of Saban still walking around over there. He might be walking, pop his head in and scream at a Jamal or two, and then get on back to his rocking chair. But yes, I'm expecting them to kind of flip the switch a little bit and really get some good tape on film. And I don't think they're going to let. I don't think they had a good film session this past week, and I'm pretty sure there was some cursing, chewing outs.
Yeah.
So I'm just expecting them to bounce back. I don't really expect much of Wisconsin at all.
Yeah, I'm like I said, Alabama 16-point favorite in this one. It's tough. It's tough in this one. That's a lot of points, but after listening to you, Kyrie, I think Alabama, like you said, they're going to get in on the film, and if they have the same type of culture that they've had over the years, they're going to get on these dudes and they're going to try to come out and prove a point, because we've seen Alabama do that in the past. But if they don't have that same type of culture, man, they better look out. That number, that top 5 rating might be dropping. So we'll see. That game is at 11 o'clock on Fox against Wisconsin. They'll be playing at Wisconsin, so that adds a little bit of pizzazz on top of it as well, that they'll be playing up there at Wisconsin. Staying in the SEC, number 16 LSU Tigers, in a game that I thought was kind of slept on coming into this, but College Game Day has now announced that they're going to be in South Carolina, so they're going to kind of big up this game now, make some noise about it. LSU Tigers going to South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina coming into this game 2-0. LSU coming in 1-1 after they dropped their season opener against USC. Now, South Carolina, left a lot to be desired in their season opener against Old Dominion. They won that game 23-19. But after what we saw last week against Kentucky, a respectable Kentucky team, this isn't just, the best Kentucky team they've ever had. They've had some decent squads over the last few years. But a 31-6 win against Kentucky at Kentucky kind of, opened some eyes up for this South Carolina team. They got the young kid Sellers in at quarterback, and they got just an absolute stud on the defensive end in the freshman Dylan Stewart, the pass rusher, 6'6", 250 out of Washington, D.C. I mean, he is a first-round. Scouts have already came out and said if he could come out this year at 18 years old, he'd be a first-round pick. This kid is serious. And, I mean, as it goes on, he's just going to start drawing more and more comparisons to probably a Jadeveon Clowney, somebody we saw out of South Carolina that was, one of the biggest prospects. If we're just talking about prospect-wise, one of the biggest prospects in the SEC over the last decade was Jadeveon Clowney, and he was in South Carolina. And seeing this kid as a freshman already causing this type of havoc, 2.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles already through 2 games. Excited to see him against this LSU team who has looked, underwhelming, honestly, to say the least, over their last 2 games. coming into this one. Not a lot to say about LSU and this Brian Kelly team. Yeah, they blew out Nicholls State, but, I mean, it's Nicholls. Like, come on, what do we expect to see out of that one? So LSU, they got to come out here and try to make a statement against the South Carolina team if they want to stay ranked. If they lose this game against South Carolina, they're not going to be ranked anymore. And this one is a 50-50 toss-up game, according to ESPN Analytics. I got this one a 50-50 game. Right now, Vegas has LSU as a 7-point favorite in this game. But this is going to be a close one, especially playing at South Carolina. So this is one of those sleeper games kind of that a lot of people weren't paying attention to at first, but now with game day going there and all that from ESPN, I'm sure more people will be tuning in. PJ, what do you think about this one, South Carolina versus LSU? Looks like we might have lost a connection there with PJ, and we'll get him back on here in just a second. So, Kyra, we'll come back to you on this one, man. What do you, with South Carolina coming in this game 2-0 and it being at South Carolina, what do you think about their chances against this LSU team?
Yeah, man. I think South Carolina is going to take this. Like you said, the freshman D-end out there, he looks like he's going to be a top prospect for the NFL, man. Just dominated these first 2 weeks, especially last week. But they got that kid, the receiver, that's like probably the best athlete in the country. I know Travis Hunter's probably, want to debate that. But to me, he's just the most balanced athlete. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but he has cat-like reflexes. This kid is just a locomotive. Like, fastest kid on the field, strongest kid on the field. So I'm expecting him to do something to these LSU DBs, man. I just think in college football, it's all about, who has the best playmaker. LSU, they had a Heisman winner last year. I don't really see any players on their team besides Lacey. He looks okay, but I hate to be the fun police, man, but I don't like the culture they got going on right now. I don't really think it's too focused on football. I know they have a great tradition of kind of the new age wide receiver youth. I know Ohio State have something to say about that, but LSU's been putting them out there, man.
No, they're right up there with them.
Yeah, I'm expecting South Carolina to get some stuff, man. They have a true game record, that freshman. He's unblockable, and it's kind of crazy to watch. We haven't seen this kind of production and from a defensive player. Wow. And it's exciting, though. Like, these are the best years in college football. And there's a Jalen Ramsey out there, Tyrann Mathieu, or just somebody on the defensive side that can really disrupt and change the game to account for. So I'm going to be taking South Carolina, man. I hate that the receiver's name is escaping me, but pretty sure he's a sophomore. But, yeah, that kid and the D-end, I just think we're going to really get a great chance to look at some NFL talent, and it's going to be on full display against a Power 5 school.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm right with you, man. I think I might be rolling with South Carolina in this one, and I love LSU, and like you said, the culture that they bring to this. But I think this is all the momentum is leaning towards South Carolina. Yeah, they had a rough start in their first game, but after putting on a show like that against Kentucky last week, and like you said, they got a true game wrecker on the other side with Dylan Stewart, and somebody that can really just mess up this whole entire offense for LSU, an offense that's honestly shaky coming into this game. Yeah, they had a good outing against Nicholls State, but come on, who's not going to look like world beaters against them? Before we go to break, one more game, Kyra, I want to get your opinion on this Missouri and Boston College game. Really one of the only ranked matchups that we got outside of Kansas State and Arizona. Missouri, they're looking good, man. And the SEC is tough. The SEC is super tough. We were talking about it yesterday. I think they got 6 teams in the top 10, and this Missouri team is one of those teams that are poised to make a lot of noise in this SEC. Right now, coming in at number 6, they got Cook at quarterback, somebody that, he's been playing great. He played great last year. They got probably the best receiver in the nation if one of the best receivers in the nation, if not the best receiver in the nation on their team. So, I mean, they're looking good, and they're coming in the Boston College team that's, they're ranked. They beat Florida State. Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do against them, but not completely sold on Boston College just yet. But I'm interested to see how Missouri can come out and handle them. Like I said, Brady Cook at quarterback, Luther Burden, possibly the best receiver in the nation on this Missouri Tigers team. So what do you think about this game real quick before we go to break, Kyrell?
Yeah, man. Theo Weiss. I don't know how to really say his name, but he's probably, top 3 receiver in the nation, and I really like the way he plays, man. But I'm rolling with Bill, man. I'm rolling with Bill O'Brien. I think that, I think he's a great coach. Their running back is I'm pretty sure went to Kansas State last year. He's a transfer into Boston College, and I think when Kansas State played Missouri, they lost. They lost that game, but that guy, 20 carries, 100 yards, got it done. So I'm thinking behind a better coach and a running back that's already seen this defense and seen this team before, I'm thinking we're about to get an even better show. I know Theo Weiss is, probably the best playmaker on both sides, but I'm looking at that Boston College running back. I think he's going to have a big game, and they're going to control the time of possession, and they're going to get him up out of here. We're going to see an upset here. I think I need to find out the kid's name, man, but I'm looking for that Boston College running back.
Trayshawn Ward.
Trayshawn Ward. Okay, yeah. I'm looking for Bill and Ward to get this job done, man. I'm rolling with Bill.
Yeah, I do like the new look Boston College team especially with Bill O'Brien being back there, who is a good play caller. I mean, he was the coach of my team, the Houston Texans, in the NFL for some years, and kind of a bitter ending to that. But that was mainly because of him as a GM. Him as a play caller and as a coach, he's proven. He's proven, whether that goes back to the New England days or even his time at Alabama. He spent time at Alabama as their offensive coordinator with Nick Saban. So we know he knows how to dial up an offense. And so far, he's got this team 2-0 as one of the top teams in the ACC, a team that could potentially win the ACC. I mean, the ACC is so wide open, we never know with any of these teams who's going to be the one to take the leap with them. But excited to see that game, really the only ranked matchup game, but like I said, outside of that Arizona-Kansas State game coming up this weekend. So a lot of good college football. So tune in and watch this weekend, folks. So make sure you get your popcorn ready, as T.O. said, and get ready to watch some of these good games we got coming up this weekend. Only thing I don't like is a lot of these good games that we just previewed, they all come on at the same time. They're all at like 11 o'clock. And I'm not sure how Missouri and Boston College didn't get on TV. They'll be on SEC Network, but you thought that would have been one of the games to at least be on ESPN. Like, come on, what we doing, guys? What we doing over there with ESPN in this program? I don't know what's going on, but we got to get that fixed. And like I said, excited to watch those games this weekend. Folks, we're going to take a quick break and come back at the top of the hour as we are going to preview the NFL weekend coming up. So stay right here on Centex Primetime, right here on Infinity Sports Radio Central Texas, and on Centex Sports Network as well. We'll be right back.
Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop and Business Opportunity, to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org. Space
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blazing Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
It's the family feels for me. The banana pudding, peach cobbler make you want to holler. For me, it's the candy yams, mac and cheese, beef tips, pork tips and rice, collard greens. It's a sweet potato pie, sweetie. Fried chicken you've been missing, the lemon sweet tea dressing on Sundays when you all dressed up. Chest pie, buttermilk, and pound cake. Cornbread with butter just dripping, always fresh baked. If you need Southern style, soul food, home cooked meals that you can feel. Chicken and dumplings, chicken pot pie, 719 South 11th Street. Sassy's, come on by.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening.
Always consult your financial and tax professional.
This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports. Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Welcome back into hour number 2 here on Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis. As we go through the primetime topics in sports, not only in the Central Texas area, but all sports all over. We've been talking a lot of football here the last couple weeks, and we're going to talk some more football as the NFL season kicked off last weekend. Started with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens as they were able to come out with the win there, and they're on their road back to trying to be the first team to get a three-peat, which is just crazy to even say, and the only team that's had the potential to really do that, and the only team I could see being fitting enough to do that is this Kansas City Chiefs team. Is they'll be continuing their season as they'll take on the Bengals this weekend, and we'll talk about them in just a second. Cowboys, the flag, like we said before, folks, 94.5 FM and 94.5 Magic is the flagship station for the Dallas Cowboys here in the Central Texas area. If you want to listen to those games every Sunday on the dial and on the radio, tune in to 94.5 Magic and 94.5 FM to be able to listen to your Dallas Cowboys every Sunday right here on the radio. They came out with the win against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday as they defeated them 33-17 last week as well. Some surprises like the New England Patriots able to get a win over those Bengals like we talked about last week. The New York Jets dropped a game in their season opener against a team who could potentially be the best team in the league this year. I mean, it's hard to not say that when you see the type of performance that the San Francisco 49ers had on Monday Night Football. They'll be taking on the Vikings this weekend. But before we get to some of those games for this coming up weekend, we'll preview some of those. Still here joined with Kyrell Gibson, and we'll have PJ Gaither back on here with us in a little bit. And before we preview some of these games, I want to get to something that, once again, saw on the internet scrolling. That's how we see a lot of these topics now. A lot of news is consumed through these social media apps. And I seen Devontae Adams previewing their game against the Baltimore Ravens as the Ravens look to get back in the win column this week against the Raiders, who, they're in contention. We talked about the Panthers a little bit and the Giants this week as well, but the Raiders are right there in that contention to be really one of the worst teams in the league this year. And so not much to look forward to. But Devontae Adams was previewing the game and had a kind of a hot take as he was talking about Lamar, and I'll let you guys take a listen to that right here.
Lamar Jackson throughout his career. Well, he's who I think I mentioned it to y'all. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but going into my 21 season, I felt like that was an area, broken tackles was an area that I really wanted to focus on and push and make better. And I was literally finding myself watching Lamar Jackson highlights like in my locker before the games. Like, dude changed the game. He's the best, in my opinion, best ball carrier ever. You know, no matter what position you want to talk about, I don't think anybody's as big of a threat carrying the football. So, and obviously he's worked really hard to develop in the other parts of his game as well, and you've seen that come a long way too. So, he's a huge threat. Somebody you gotta be accountable for out there, and make sure you know what he's doing, and getting on the film of that. And obviously, I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, hell of a football player.
What have you seen out of Lamar Jackson throughout his career?
So Davante Adams right there with the hot take, I guess you could say, saying that Lamar Jackson is the best ball carrier in the NFL history, regardless of position. So he's not just talking about quarterbacks, because I think it's obvious that he's the best running quarterback of all time. But he's saying just the best person with the ball in their hands, regardless of any position. Now, Lamar Jackson is my favorite player in the NFL, even though my favorite team is the Houston Texans. My favorite player is Lamar, and he's been my favorite player since college. I thought he should have been the number one pick when he came out of Louisville over a Baker Mayfield and what they thought a stacked quarterback class. They had Baker and Sam Darnold and Josh Allen all went in the top 10. Lamar's been my favorite player, like I said, since college. I was a fan of his in high school. We're around the same age, and I've been watching him since he was down there in South Florida making plays. But the best ball carrier of all time, I think is a little bit of a stretch, y'all. I think this is a little bit of a stretch in saying that he's the best ball carrier to ever touch a ball. Too many guys have come through this league. Barry Sanders, a Waco legend, LaDainian Tomlinson, an Adrian Peterson, a Texas legend, and who I think is probably the best ball carrier of all time in Adrian Peterson. But even at the receiver position, you got guys like Tyreek Hill. You got guys like Randy Moss that could just get the ball at any point on the field and just take it to the house no matter where they're at, especially a person like Tyreek Hill who can catch a screen almost and take it to the house. I mean, we just seen it last week. Dude was in handcuffs, and 60 minutes later catches a slant and goes 80 yards. I mean, so it's tough. That's really tough for me to say Lamar Jackson, the best ball carrier of all time in the NFL. Too many guys have come through the NFL to say something crazy like that, in my opinion. But I get what he's saying. Lamar is one of the best players of all time with the ball in his hands. He's very electric, probably the best in the league right now, outside of maybe a Tyreek Hill. So it's between those two. But, kind of a hot take there by Davante Adams. And one, every time I see Davante Adams pop up, he just looks like he's miserable to be in Vegas. And it's hard to be miserable in Vegas. A lot to do in Vegas, especially when you got a $100 million contract like Davante Adams. And he looks miserable. It looks like he doesn't even have fun going to playing football anymore, because he went from Jimmy G at quarterback to Mustachio now, as Kyrell would say, at quarterback with Gardner Minshew. But Kyrell, what do you think about Davante Adams' comments and what he said about Lamar Jackson being the best ball carrier of all time in the NFL?
Yeah, man. I'm not trying to hear that. Like, could you imagine if Adrian Peterson played quarterback?
Oh, my God.
Or Barry Sanders?
Yeah.
And they got to get a running start with everybody with 5 players with their back towards them. It'd be...
Come on, man. It looked like NFL Street.
Like, I'll say this. Lamar is between him and Barry. But Lamar and Barry are the most creative ball carriers of all time.
I'm not mad at that.
Peterson was just raw power. He had some feet to him, but we ain't really see AP hit no spin moves.
Yeah.
He
ain't need to.
He ain't need to, right. So Lamar and Barry, they're the most creative to me, because I'm going through the list and I just keep going back to that play against the Bengals in that first MVP season.
Crazy.
That spin move and in between the hashes.
Crazy.
Oh, boy. I threw my hands up. Yeah, I get you, man. Even Tyreek, man, Tyreek ain't got no moves. He ain't Dante Hall, He just faster than everybody. He just hit that bubble. If you chase him, he gonna hit a bubble. He gonna hit a ultimate U, and he's gonna beat you to the spot. That ain't no moves, man. Dante Hall had moves.
Yeah. Dante Hall, another one.
Dante Hall and Devin Hester. He really didn't even have.
You don't get enough credit, man.
Oh no. He's a Hall of Famer. But I get what he's trying to say. But let's dial it back, man. Add that creative on there.
Yeah.
And we got a better argument. But come on, man. Adrian Peterson? Dude, oh my gosh. I knew his career or his retirement was going to go exactly the way it was going. And all them hits he was giving out, I knew his retirement was going to go this way. Ain't no way. There's much brain up there, man.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I got to go for my era for sure. It's Adrian Peterson. Like, it's not even a question. I didn't get a chance to watch Barry live, and everybody that got a chance to watch Barry live said you had to see him play live. So I wasn't afforded that opportunity to be able to watch him live, but just seeing his highlights, it's ridiculous, especially with how horrible the Lions were at the time of him being able to do that. So yeah, it's really ridiculous that he was able to do the things he did with the ball. And like you said, if they got a running start with the defense turned around the other way, come on, man, it would get ugly out there. But for what I've seen with my eyes, Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Randy Moss, these dudes with the ball. Even Michael Vick, these dudes with the ball in their hands. It was scary out there, super scary hours when they had the ball. Really wasn't much you could do against them. So to say the best ball carrier of all time, that's kind of a stretch. Thinking about this Kansas City team and this Cincinnati team that we just talked about a little bit ago, they're doing some trash talking, as we know this is a rivalry that's kind of built up over the years ever since Joe Burrow beat them to go to the Super Bowl, and I believe 2021 when they lost to the Rams. They beat Mahomes then, and Mahomes got him back, I think, the year after that. So it's been a rivalry since those two teams have faced off each other in that year, and every year they've been able to play each other, I think. And even in the regular season, I think Cincinnati got the best of them a few times. So it's kind of been a budding rivalry, and I like rivalries in the league. I don't think we have enough of them in the league. Obviously, Cowboys, Philly, really the whole NFC East, but just the only problem is half the NFC East is trash. So those rivalries don't get ignited like they used to. The Giants can't be any. The Giants are their own rival, so they can't be in the rivalry talks at all. So not as many good rivalries in the league as there used to be with each other. I think the Rams and 49ers had some good going back and forth those couple years when Aaron Donald was on the Rams and the 49ers were good. But this Bengals-Chiefs rivalry is probably one of the best in the league. They really don't like each other. And one of the starting corners for the Cincinnati Bengals came out, Cam Taylor Britt, and he was asked about Xavier Worthy. He said, speed, that's about it. He can run straight, but he can't do much else. So that's what he already said about Xavier Worthy, the rookie receiver that we know shined in week 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Bengals players already getting back to it. I think Jamar Chase said he doesn't like anything about the Chiefs and doesn't like anybody on the Chiefs. So the Bengals, at least from their side, they're feeling like this is still a budding rivalry and that they want to go at this team. They still feel like they're better than the Chiefs. I don't know how they feel like that, but they're one of the only teams that's gotten the better of the Chiefs over the last few years. So I kind of understand their point of view on that. But first I want to ask you, Kyrell, what do you think about the comments made by the corner of the Bengals? And then we'll kind of preview what we think about this game after that.
Yeah, man. Ultimate hating.
Yeah.
Elite hating. Like, I get you, man. And he can talk, man. I think he's a fast kid himself. But he's not worthy for this. And just to come out and say he's just trying to get into a rookie's head.
Yeah.
And I watched this kid run routes in training camp. Yeah, pick him up. Whatever lineups you making, pick up Worthy. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be pretty. You're coming off a loss. You're trying to find an edge. So you take a shot at a rookie that had better day than you.
Yeah.
You know. I'm familiar with your game, man. It's not gonna work. We're gonna be talking about you on Monday, man, and it's not gonna be pretty. But yeah, that's just elite hate, man. I gotta respect it at the same time. You gotta find that edge. You know, this is probably somebody that needs that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who this guy was. I mean, I'm tapped into the Bengals pipeline, man. So this kid was just another name, but I can recognize elite hate, and that's exactly what this is. Why would you come out and say that he's fast and nothing else? Boy, do you know how hard we finna be watching you? You better not slip. You better not stumble. Because them Twitter fingers is going to be active. And I guarantee.
Oh, they're going to be on them.
Man, as a matter of fact, that's my guarantee for the week. Cam Taylor-Britt will have a private account by Monday morning.
Pull out the burners.
I guarantee it. And he's fast, man. I had to look up his 40 time because I better have seen something under 4.4. But he run a 4.38, so he's a fast kid.
Yeah, I remember him coming out.
But man, you asking for it.
Yeah.
It's Mahomes. Don't even he could beat you on a drag route where Mahomes is running around for 25 seconds. When it's impossible to cover for that long. And if you get beat, why do that to yourself? No, you don't have no type of foresight, man. What's gonna happen? It's football. Anything can happen. And you're literally, you know what? His agent had to tell him to do this. He's trying to get some, this is just like on 2K, man. When you pick the worst option to say, and your teammates hate you, but your fans love you. This is exactly what that is, man. He's gonna get some fans off of this. He's gonna get some notoriety. He might get a speed stick sponsorship, or something. Or something. But man,
last time you seen a speed stick commercial?
I can tell you the next time I'm gonna see it.
It's gonna be Xavier Worthy on there. It ain't gonna be him.
Man, that's a bad idea. It's only I get what he's saying, man. It's not true though. I watched this kid run routes. He has it all. If you want to talk about anything, tell him that he don't weigh. He about weigh as much as a Miss Bear's loaf of bread. That's about as much as Xavier Worthy weight. Go at his weight or something. Don't talk about his speed because he got the best quarterback in the league throwing the ball to him, son. You about to get put on a poster. And NFL don't even have posters, but you gonna be on one.
So you're gonna be on a football card or something.
Yeah, it's bad, man. Bad. I don't know who his agent is, but I'm familiar with your game, man. I'm familiar with your game, and I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I'm not thinking it's gonna work. At least not for him. Now the Bengals, they got a chance in this game to be able to try to do something, but for him, just being a corner and playing against Mahomes, I would just be quiet all week. I wouldn't say anything. I'd try to fly under the radar. I had my hat on, had my do-rag on or something. Let me just fly under the radar. I don't want to really be seen because it could be an ugly week for you. If Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard and all them dudes don't put some pressure on Mahomes, it's a long Sunday for you. It's going to be a real long Sunday for you. Y'all already going back and forth. Jamar Chase saying something. I get that. He trying to get himself going. That's what you're supposed to do. He's got a lot of scrutiny around him. We talked about him a little bit yesterday on the show. He's got a lot of scrutiny around him and what he's been doing just because of how he's approached his contract situation, how he's been answering questions and all that. So he's got a lot to prove, and he's actually torched the Chiefs in the past multiple times. I think he had his rookie season, he put up like 3 touchdowns against them. So he's torched them before. He can say that. But you got to go against Mahomes? I mean, that's tough, man. That's tough. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know what your plan is for doing that. But like you said, elite hating. But just going into this game for Sunday, as we preview the game against them, the Cincinnati team taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati looking to get back into the win column against the best team in the league. I mean, the two-time Super Bowl champs. Kansas City, a 5.5-point favorite in this game, which they should be. And they're playing at Kansas City as well. So, I mean, this going to be a tough game for the Bengals and Joe Burrow to try to get back in the win column. I know Joe Burrow, some questions surrounding his health coming into the game. So, I'm interested to see how he's going to fare in this one. And, Kyrie, I'll get your opinion before we go back to PJ on here. What do you think about this game and Cincinnati's chances to try to come out with a win in this one?
Oh, exactly. You know, my favorite thing to do is hate watch, man. I love a good hate watch. And right now, the hate of the week is going to Joe Burrow. I don't like rich kids, man. Never have, never will. And I feel like he's had every toy that he could possibly get at every stage of his career. So I'm rolling with, Kansas City, man. And I think that Kansas City's defense found its identity last year. We watched Lamar put up a lot of yards, man, but that offense kind of really struggled, man. And, we attributed that to the play calling when week one, but I think we're going to see the same thing here. You play New England last week, and a lot of us, suspected that would be the worst team in the league, and now we're kind of looking at it like, man, what's going on with what's going on over there in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
You got the Jamar Chase situation. I don't know what there's reports out there that he's turning down, what everybody sees as a monster contract for him and what he deserves. So at least in my eyes, that's a fair contract.
Yeah.
You got that going on, and Joe Burrow dyed his hair. I don't know if it seeped into his brain or whatever, but he's not looking too great. He was efficient, but it's just like something's missing. And you got defense talking mess, corners, and I'm going at the Bengals medical staff too. Y'all need to check that boy for a concussion protocol, because I don't see no reason why he should be talking like that, man. So I'm thinking, well, I need to go back and watch that film, make sure he ain't getting no helmet-to-helmet contact. But yeah, man, I'm expecting the Kansas City Chiefs to come out there and handle business. I know Hendrickson plays pretty well against Kansas City when they play, but I think the weapons that Kansas City has, I think we're about to see I don't know if they're going to go because it's an added game. I'm not going to say that, but I think we're looking at a 14-2 or a 16-1 season from Kansas City, man. It just looks too easy, and you gave Mahomes everything. Kelsey, speed on the outside, a good possession receiver in Rashee Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Pacheco was turned into a top 5 back. Yeah, it's not gonna get pretty. It's tail of two teams, man. One's trending up, the other one's trending down, and they grasping for air with all this smack talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be. I think we see a wounded dog, man, and they're backed into a corner and they're trying to anything right now. So.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think this is. I think not only is this a Chiefs win, I think we're watching the fall of this Cincinnati Bengals team, man. They were, and we got to start. We got to do what we got to do, man. We got to start getting on Joe Burrow, like you said. I don't know what's going on with dude, but he ain't been playing good. He ain't played good last year. He ain't playing good to start this season off. He always has these slow starts, but we hold him to this standard because he's the one that beat Kansas City. He's the one that went to the Super Bowl and all. That's cool and all. Like Kyrell loves to say, Trent Dilfer went to a Super Bowl. That's cool, but we got to start holding him accountable like we hold these other dudes accountable. If Jalen Hurts has the type of season that Joe Burrow was having, Kyrell gonna be on the show every week talking about how garbage Jalen Hurts is. So we got to hold Joe Burrow to that same type of standard, and I think we might be witnessing the fall down of the Cincinnati Bengals, especially if they don't re-sign T. Higgins and something blows up with Jamar Chase. It's over with. PJ, what do you think about this game on Sunday, the Chiefs and the Bengals?
I think the Chiefs really finna go into this game and dominate now.
Yeah.
They're finna dominate now. I mean, you just don't when you're playing against the Chiefs, you just don't add anything to, to motivate them to come out and pretty much just, kill you. So, yeah, I think I got the Chiefs, man. And I agree. I feel like we don't really hold Joe Burrow to the standard of certain other QBs. I feel like he's trying to get away with, probably being mediocre or just not flat out just not playing good, but people really don't tend to say as much because they do still, to me, have a lot of clout from whenever they made the Super Bowl. So that does stop a lot of people from, just pretty much holding them accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, to me, that's not really fair. I feel like that he should be held accountable just like any other QB. And you're right. Like, I mean, you start out slow every year. It's like, but we just supposed to, well, it's okay. They're going to end up picking it up later on. You know what I mean? So I don't really get that. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we all going Chiefs in this one, especially with how Cincinnati looked last. I mean, you lost New England. Like, come on, y'all. New England, that's not how you start the season and a loss to a team that might win 4 games this year. Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback. And shout out to the young dude, Keon White, though, on New England. He was looking like a dog in preseason, and I thought, maybe it's just preseason. But you come out week 1 and get 2.5 sacks, too. And Keon White is a problem for the New England Patriots. So definitely keep a lookout for him. He was a rookie last year. I think he missed some time. He was hurt. But he looks like a monster coming in to the season, 2.5 sacks right off the bat. So we'll see how this Kansas City Chiefs team does against them. I want to go to the game for tonight as they'll kick off week 2. Buffalo Bills going to Miami after all the drama Miami had week 1. They came out with the win, a very, very close win against Jacksonville, 20-17, as they were able to kick a last-minute field goal and win that game. And the Buffalo Bills started off slow as they were losing to the Arizona Cardinals, another team we expect to be a cellar dweller as far as where they're going to finish in the season. And Cardinals had them up against the ropes, and Josh Allen honestly had to put a Superman cape on. He came out and he just took the game over completely. He won this game for the Bills almost by himself. They didn't really have a lot of help from any of their guys. The young dude, Keon Coleman, got a chance to get a jump ball. I'm expecting for him to be more of a feature in the offense. Shakur looked like a pretty sure-handed target for this team, and Joe Brady's been getting the running game going with James Cook ever since he took over as a play caller last year. So both of these teams coming in to the game tonight with something to prove. Miami has perennially lost to Buffalo under the Tua era, or in the Tua era. They've never really been able to get over the hump against Buffalo. Buffalo beats up on them pretty much every time these two teams go against each other. But Buffalo's offense still got a lot of question marks to be answered. Josh Allen, like I said, put the Superman cape on last week to be able to get that win, but he keep taking them hits and doing that Fred Flintstone jumping over people stuff, and he ain't gonna make it through the season. So we'll see how that goes. But what do you guys think about this game tonight? And PJ, I'll start with you. This Buffalo and Miami game, 7:15 tonight in Miami, and Miami is a 2.5-point favorite in this one.
I'm really not sure who I'm gonna really pick for this game. I guess I'll say I'll lean more towards Miami just because they're gonna be at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they have that to their advantage. I mean, it's gonna be a good game, man. Like this really gonna be the battle of two of the top teams in the AFC East. You know what I mean? These are 2 teams who possibly can win that division this year. So I'm really gonna like just watching them match up against each other. Honestly, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Bills D-line. The Bills D-line is pretty good, so I really want to see how they're going to face up against, A-Chain and really just.
I think A-Chain's out tonight. A-Chain and Mostert out tonight. Yeah, Wilson getting the start.
He's in.
Who's in?
A-Chain.
Oh, A-Chain's playing. Okay. I know he was questionable before the game. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope to see him on the field for sure, and healthy for sure. But I think tonight's gonna be a really good game. And like I said, these 2 of the top teams in their division, and two teams that could possibly win their division. I think it's gonna come down to probably the last few weeks, or if not the last week, definitely in the AFC East. It's just that deep in that division outside of, the Patriots. But I mean, yeah, I think I'm going with Miami. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with them. I just feel like that they're clicking more than what Buffalo is right now so far. I would like to see Buffalo, involve Keon Coleman more tonight in the offense. I think he's different. You know what I mean? So I think they should really just involve him more. But I don't think, even if they did, I don't think that'll be enough to really come out with the win tonight.
Yep, I'm agreeing. I'm going Miami tonight. They're a 2.5-point favorite, so Vegas barely's got them favored, but I'm going Miami tonight. I think their offense is going to be too much, and they're down there in Miami. It's going to be hot. Josh Allen has been playing in Buffalo all summer. They ain't even felt this type of humidity yet, so they're going to come down here, and I think Miami's offense is probably going to be just a little bit too much for Buffalo, and I'm not sold on Buffalo's offense. Their defense, I do like their D-line, like you said, PJ, Greg Russo. He had a really good game against the Cardinals last week. But I'm going to go ahead and go with, even though he is the original Mr. Noodle Arm that Kyrell proclaimed him to be, I'm going to go with Tua and them boys tonight. Kyrell, who you got in this game?
Yep, they're going to lose because I'm picking Miami too.
They definitely losing now.
Yeah, man. Kyler Murray left a lot on the field last week to me. He played a good game, but I thought he could have put them up. And I'm not a fan of Buffalo defense at the moment. They look like they're poor tacklers. I know James Conner's still a dog, but I just didn't like the way they tackled the football, man. So I'm looking for some long runs, some missed tackles. I just don't know who it's going to be yet. That's the thing with Miami. It's going to be Water. It's going to be Hill. It's going to be A-Chain. Yeah, I'm rolling with Miami. But Josh Allen had to put on that cape, ran the ball a whole lot, couldn't really get on the end zone without his legs. So I'm rolling with Miami. I think Jalen Ramsey on Keon Coleman is not an ideal. Keon is a dog.
He got no chance.
I'm rooting for the young man, but he ain't got no chance. They're going to have to go to the other side. And Shakir had a good week last week, and he actually torched Miami last year.
Yeah.
So he's going to be my captain and my guy in a lot of my lineups. But yeah, I'm thinking Tua is going to have a facade game. Yeah, we're going to be Tua this, Tua that after the day, and yeah, we're usually going to be right back on schedule after this week. But yeah, Tua.
Yep, they're going to do what they usually do. Beginning of the season, Tua's going to have one of these games where he throws for 400 yards, where he's really just throwing a bunch of slants, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek take off on everybody. But I'm expecting one of those games, too, from them tonight. So that game is tonight at 7:15. We all picked Miami in this game, so Miami's definitely losing after that. We saw it last week. I forget who it was that we all picked in the game. I think it was Colorado. No, it wasn't. It was Baltimore. Yeah, that's what it was. We all picked Baltimore, and, of course, they lost. So we all picked Miami on here. So Miami today has no chance. They're probably going to lose. That game's at 7:15, 2.5-point favorites, like I said, on Amazon Prime Video, which is the worst thing that happened to NFL streaming, I think, with Amazon Prime, and then putting them Thursday nights on Amazon Prime. So we got some more games to look at for this weekend, folks. Your Dallas Cowboys, everybody, like I said earlier, the flagship station for Dallas Cowboys is right here on 94.5 FM and 94.5 Magic. You can listen to them every Sunday on 94.5 FM, so make sure you guys are ready for that. This Sunday, they've got the New Orleans Saints, who put up the most points in the league last week as they completely torched the worst team in the league in the Carolina Panthers. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to be taking on the Saints team. They're both hot coming into this game. So both expecting to do a lot, both high expectations after their week ones. Dallas in week one came out with the win over the Cleveland Browns, who got a lot of question marks, especially after the news of Deshaun Watson and, all the stuff he's got going on. He got another lawsuit coming against him. And I seen today that this lady says she got video this time. So we'll just stay pending on that, and we'll bring that up as a topic once we know more about that. But I'm expecting to see James Winston in there. But with the Cowboys versus the Saints coming into this game, it's at home. Dallas started their season on the road against Cleveland. At home, like Rocky said earlier in the week, Dallas is a terrible home cover, notoriously. But they're a 6-point favorite in this game against New Orleans. And New Orleans look good. Yeah, they're playing the worst team in the league, but they put up 47 points. And I really like what this offense has looked like. You know, they've had a long time, one of the longest tenured offensive coordinators in the league with Pete Carmichael, who we got some ties to. Pete Carmichael here. His daughter-in-law is definitely a friend of the show and a friend of Centex Sports Network. But that offense was what some people described as prehistoric or archaic, however they described it. And they got a new guy in there calling the plays, and that offense looked good on Sunday. So, I'm excited to see what they can do. Never sold on Derek Carr. Never have been sold on Derek Carr, so that's always a question mark. But I think they led the league in motion in week 1, and I think they were the last team as far as motion pre-snap in the league for the last 2 or 3 years, and they had the most motion pre-snap in week 1. Like I said, they were taking on the Carolina Panthers, who are they're terrible. They're garbage. Let's just keep it a buck. Panthers are horrible. But you put up 47 points on them. That's what you're supposed to do when you're taking on the potential worst team in the league. PJ and Kyrell, I know both of y'all are Cowboys fans, so I'll let y'all break down this one. And what do y'all think the outcome's going to be in this? I'll start with Kyrell on this one. New Orleans versus Dallas, 12 o'clock on Sunday. Who you got?
Oh, man. New Orleans played a really good game. Really didn't have to see that. I don't even want to talk about the ball. So, look, man, this is not going to be pretty. This is going to be another game where we're going to realize how bad the Panthers really are. I mean, 47 points, and nobody has any yards.
Nobody.
Nobody has any yards on the Saints. That just tells me you were just getting the ball over and over, in favorable position. That's not going to happen with Dallas, man. You drop back to throw that ball. Alvin Kamara is a step behind than what he was. His defense is fast. You're not doing that. Your best bet is Olave and Shaheed. Just throw it deep in. We got probably the biggest ball hawk in the league right now. He might not be the best coverage corner, but he's the best ball hawk, and I'm willing to debate that with anybody. So put the ball in the air, you're done. You can't run the ball, you're done. Their best bet is Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu force turnovers on Dak. So I am concerned about how the offense looks against their defense, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think our defense is going to score, honestly, because Derek Carr is bound to make an appearance soon, and I'm betting this week too. It's coming, man. But
the real Derek Carr.
I don't think the real Derek Carr. So he look good, man, but I just don't think the Panthers have anything right now. Their whole attitude is just off. J.C. Horn got beat deep and started jogging at the 20. He could have caught the dude, but he failed. But he was jogging like it was like, yeah, man, that's not a football team. I don't know what Matt Rule did over there. I'm blaming him.
Man, they already fired a coach in between Matt Rule. They'll put that on Matt. They have Frank right there.
He started it. He had some juice going on up there. Something, man. It's still lingering around. I was a big Bryce Young fan, but I don't know how they might have ruined that kid. Dallas. I'm taking Dallas. I think it's going to be a 27-13 type game. It'll probably be over by the third quarter. They'll score late. But I don't expect the New Orleans offense to do anything. I'm expecting the thing I'm most excited about is Marshawn Lattimore versus CeeDee Lamb. That's gonna be like prime time television. And if CeeDee Lamb wins that matchup, this won't be a game.
Yeah, that's a huge matchup, but I don't think that's going to be much of a matchup because I think they're going to move CD to the slot. I don't even think they're going to put him against Marshawn that much because you got to trust the other guys. And then just something before I let you go, PJ, just something else that just shows how bad the Panthers are. The league leader in sacks right now is Alontae Taylor, who is a corner for the New Orleans Saints. He had 3 sacks against the Panthers. How does a corner get 3 sacks? Again, like, you know, I don't want to stay on the Panthers too long, but they're just terrible, man. They're terrible. They got the
laugh track.
They got one of the worst. They got one of the worst owners in the league. The Tepper dude that took over for the team, he was bad when he took over. It was that same time they got Matt Rule. So you blame Matt Rule, and it's their owner, bro. He came in and started hiring GMs and hiring football personnel, and he knows nothing about football. Just because you build a business and you buy a football team does not mean you know anything about football, and that's being proven. PJ, who you got in this game? New Orleans versus Dallas.
Both these teams I'm a fan of.
Yeah, these both your teams.
That's my second team. So the Saints really not that good. They look good because the Panthers are terrible.
Horrible.
You know. So I got the Cowboys winning against the Saints by a lot. Probably about 3 touchdowns, honestly. I feel like they're gonna go out there and really beat them.
So you think Derek Carr goes back to being sorry, like Kyrell said?
He's always been sorry. He's trash. I really don't understand why the Saints kept him. Then they got Spencer Rattler on the bench. I mean, you might as well play him because Derek Carr not good. But you know, I feel like if Cowboys they're gonna smash on the Saints real quick, you know, and just show that the NFC South is. Honestly, man, the only good team in the NFC South, bro, is probably the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. A sleeper team.
Good team. Yeah. Everybody else pretty garbage. Nobody's worse than the Panthers, though.
No, nobody's. Yeah, I gotta stop getting on the Giants as much because just going back and watching the film with the Panthers, I mean, it's a disgrace. Their best player on defense is Derek Brown. I just seen where he got hurt. I think he's going to be out for the season. Even if you're not going to be out for the season, bro, be out for the season. You're not going to miss anything. There's no reason to trying to come back off an injury. I'll just be out, bro. Just go ahead and be out for the season. Anybody else on the Panthers, you get hurt, just go and be out for the season, bro. There's just not much to look forward to. But Cowboys and Saints, I'm with y'all. I got the Cowboys in this one, and I think, like Kyrell said, Derek Carr is going to turn back into Derek Carr. He had a good week 1, and you know, he started feeling himself. I seen he was talking noise to J.C. Horn. He started holding up the 3 on him, talking about, I got 3 touchdowns on you. Yeah, that's cool. You're not going to hold up nothing against Trayvon. And after Micah hit you a couple times, you might be holding up a 4 thinking it's a 3. So we'll see how he looks on Sunday against this Cowboys defense. But like y'all said, I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. Folks, we got about 15 minutes left to go here in the show. Want to thank everybody for watching with us so far. We're previewing the NFL games for this coming up weekend. Just talked about the Cowboys. We talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. And I want to go to what I think is probably the best game in the NFL this week. And, PJ, you just alluded to them with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's Tampa Bay versus Detroit. These are 2 teams. We know Detroit is going to be one of the top teams in the NFC. But, man, if Baker Mayfield keeps playing like how he played last week, it's going to be tough to count this Tampa Bay team out. Todd Bowles is still the coach. Todd Bowles is always a good defensive mind, so I don't really have much to worry about on the defensive side, even though they got a lot of holes in my eyes after losing Devin White. They lost Carlton Davis off that team in their secondary as well. But I like Antoine Whitfield Jr. out there. I think he's one of the best safeties in the league, probably top 5 safety in the league to me. Levante David, top 5 inside linebacker in the league. Vita Vea, a top 5 inside lineman in the league on that defense. So they still got pieces on that defensive end. And then the way that Baker Mayfield is throwing the ball, I mean, I just got to shout out one of the Texas boys, man. I'm rooting for anybody from Texas, especially when it comes against people like California and Florida and all them. It's always an argument. But Baker Mayfield is proving that the Browns are still one of the worst organizations in the league. Y'all gave up Baker Mayfield for a super question mark in Deshaun Watson. And, I mean, it's turning around to bite you. I mean, it looks horrible. It looks like a horrible move on the Cleveland Browns' part. Baker Mayfield's been balling out down there in Tampa Bay. And this game against Detroit, I think, is probably the best game on the NFL slate this weekend. They got Detroit a 7.5-point favorite, which I think is crazy. because spreads usually aren't that big in the NFL. I mean, we just seen the Cowboys and Saints. That was a 6-point spread. So they think Detroit's going to come in here and whoop up on Tampa Bay like that. I don't know about all that. I think Baker Mayfield's going to have something to say in this one. I know Detroit is a good team. I'm kind of leaning towards Tampa Bay in this one, man. I mean, I like what Baker Mayfield brings to the team. I like that he throws his guys the ball. You know, he's not one of these quarterbacks that we just seen Kyler Murray, PJ, me and you were talking about this yesterday. Kyler Murray saying it's not my job to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball. Well, whose job is it? You the quarterback. Baker Mayfield is going to make sure that his guys get the ball. We seen the clip that's kind of went viral with him talking about Mike Evans said, if they don't double Mike, I'm throwing the ball. And threw it up, and it was probably the best catch of the weekend on that play. And he's going to try to give his guys the ball. Carlton Davis left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to Detroit. This Detroit team is a good team, like I said, going to be one of the top in the NFC. But I think I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to roll with Tampa Bay in this one, man. I like what I seen out of them last week. Who do you guys got in this game? Kyra, I'll start with you on this one, Tampa Bay and Detroit.
And Detroit. Not falling for that Baker. I'm glad he revived his career, man. Like, you know, it would have sucked to see him out of the league, but Detroit.
He got spunked, man. He get the team fired up.
I don't care about that. That dude is corny, bro. But either way, man, yeah, I was happy to see him hoop against Washington, but let me say that again. Hoop against Washington.
Yeah, it was Washington. You're right.
You want to know who their leading rusher was? The quarterback.
Yeah, Jaden. That's going to be leading rusher for the season.
Right. You know, so I'm not. The Lions have a way more formidable offense, formidable running game. I think J-Mo got a mixtape coming out with V's or something, so he's gonna be on top of the world this year. I'm looking to be a top 5 receiver. Yeah, I'm not buying into the Tampa Bay being an elite team, because if they beat the Lions, to me, they're an elite team. You know, it's my pick. Well, not my pick, but this is my pick for the NFC Championship. Rematch of the Lions against the 49ers. But, yeah, man, Baker Mayfield look good. But 4 touchdowns against the Washington Commanders, it's not moving me. I'm sorry. You know, that team is the overall play in the league is down. And Washington is contributing to that. They got a Heisman winner, and I'm rooting for Jaden Daniels. But, man, your quarterback should not be your leading rusher. Not in the NFL, unless that name is Lamar Jackson. And not even if it's Lamar. You know, like, it just tells me that, they don't have a running game. And that means if you don't have a running game, you don't have an offense. So, and I'm looking at the other team, right? The other side of the ball. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jameson Williams. And their tight end as well. Yeah, it's finna get bad. I don't see them keeping up. I know 37 is a lot of points, man, but I'm not backing. Who had 88 rushing yards. 16.
You just wanted to get a chance to get some shots in at the Commanders. That's all this was.
I'm dead serious. Why is your quarterback running the ball 16 times?
Because they don't have no offense.
Yeah, because these dudes ain't open. They can't get open. Austin Eckler is in your backfield. That dude should be door dashing. I don't want to hear that. This Washington Commanders team, the bottom 5 in the league this year, is probably we about to see like some of the worst football we've seen in years from these bottom 5 teams. Panthers, Giants, Commanders. We're going to talk about the Patriots, but, you know, they kind of escaped. But they escaping right now since they got a 1-0. But I'm still not sold. No. I think it's just too much drama going on over there in Cincinnati. But I'm not buying this, man. Shout out Baker Mayfield, man. Get your money, boy. I'm proud of you. Blake Travis alum. Proud of you. But, hey, the buck stops here.
Okay. So you thinking it's over with? Like I said, I think you just want to get some shots in at the Commanders, but it's all good, man. Like you said earlier, we recognize your game. We want to get a couple shots in at the Commanders, but and as far as the bottom teams in the league, it will be bad, but I'm not gonna say all time bad because there was a time that Cleveland Browns and Detroit was winning like one game a year. So that's probably when the NFL was at its worst as far as the bottom teams. PJ, who you got in this one? Detroit versus Tampa Bay.
I'm picking Detroit. I'm picking Detroit. I don't know, man. I like Tampa Bay. But I just think Detroit gonna be too much. But if Detroit play anything like they did last week, they could easily lose the game. I think last week they could have played a lot better. Started out slow and never really caught their rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be a little bit different this week. I'm sure they probably done made a few adjustments going into this week. But I mean, Tampa Bay's still good, and I still think Tampa Bay is, they're pretty decent. They're probably not one of the better teams in the NFC, but they're still a sneaky team in the NFC that could probably beat you any week. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Detroit though. I do think that they're the better team, just all around defense and offense. And they just got a lot of guys, man, definitely on offense. They got a lot of guys, so yeah, I think they're gonna be a little too much, but I don't think it'll be too crazy. I don't think the beat down will just be a blowout or anything like that, but I do think they're best of them.
Yeah. So both you guys going with Detroit. I got Tampa Bay getting an upset in this one. Want to preview one more game before we get off of here, and that's the Sunday night game. But before we do, I want to preview what is going to be. Kyrell just talked about the bottom teams. We got a toss-up and a tie right now. Two games that you might see some of the worst quarterback play that you might ever see. The first one is the New York Giants taking on the Washington Commanders. The quarterback play in that game is going to be absolutely atrocious. But shout out Jaden Daniels because I got faith in the young rookie, man. I kind of like him, and I think that he'll play decent against it's the Giants, so he ain't got no choice but to play decent. But the game that I'm picking for the worst quarterback play that we might see, that we have ever seen and might see going forward, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to the Denver Broncos and playing. It's going to be Bo Nix versus Justin Fields. This is going to be incompletion. Let's just call this the incompletion game. We're going to see picks. We're going to see people getting overthrown by 10 yards. We're going to see footballs hitting the dirt. That's what we're about to see. The little pellets that come out the turf when the football hit, we're going to see a lot of that. This is going to be the most missing turf out of any game that we've seen because it's going to be so many footballs nose diving into the dirt. Pittsburgh versus Denver, Bo Nix versus Justin Fields. This is quite possibly some of the worst quarterback play in a game that we've seen in recent memory. So shout out to both of them as we'll see that game on Sunday. I'm not even going to pick who's going to win that game because I don't care who wins that game. That game's going to be terrible. But the game that I'm looking forward to, my Houston Texans are going to be hosting the Chicago Bears. The young buck and Caleb Williams, who couldn't even throw for 100 yards in week one, is coming to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. We're coming off a win. Both the teams 1-0. Sunday Night Football on NBC. You already know who I got in this game. But right before we get off here, we got a couple minutes left. Want to get y'all opinion on this. I'll start with you, PJ. Who you got in this game, Houston versus Chicago?
I got H-Town, man. I think H-Town gonna get the dub. Houston, they one of my favorites going into this season right now.
Yep.
So I think they're gonna come out with the dub against Chicago. I'm really trying to see how Caleb Williams is gonna play. If he's gonna, play. You gotta play better. His stat line wasn't really. It was bad, but he's a rookie. It was his first week. I'm sure it's gonna be better, but I still don't think it'll be enough. You got to bring your A game, man, when you're playing Houston now, man. So I still don't think, even with that being said, I'm sure he's going to play better, but I still don't think it'll be enough, man. Houston is just a team full of dogs. The coaching staff is dogs, and they hot right now. a lot of expectations going into the season. I think they're going to pretty much exceed those expectations, you know. So I got Houston coming out with the dub.
No, for sure. And he's probably going to play better than last week just because I don't see how you could play worse than last week with 93 yards.
Yeah.
But we finna heat him up. I'm just letting y'all know now. We finna heat him up. It's finna be pressure. He was looking lost, and that was really his main flaw last week is when they disguised some pressures and disguised some blitz. He looked lost out there. I'm like, this ain't college, dude. They're not going to just line up with two high safeties and you're going to be able to say, all right, this is cover two, or this is two-man. It's going to be disguised blitzes, and D'Amico Ryan's one of the best defensive play callers in the league. We finna heat him up. Kyrell, final words on this game, Houston versus Chicago on Sunday night.
Yeah, man, Bears are going 0-2. This isn't going to be good. I think Caleb Williams is going to display his talent, but I don't expect this team to do anything. Cam, what is his name? CJ. Yeah, CJ Stroud is not going to give the opportunity to Will Levis gave in that game. Joe Mixon had like
160.
You know what I'm saying? 160 yards. And I watched Tony Pollard gash Bears defense last week. So I just think you're not going to see the field. You know, it's going to be a time of possession dominated game. But I will say this though, it's not going to be not going to be close. But in the second half, we're going to see why Caleb Williams was the number one pick. It's not going to be close, but we're going to see why Caleb Williams is the number one pick. They're trying to just throw the ball, get it to the receivers. Yeah, we're going to see the talent that he has on the outside, but only in the third quarter. So I'm going like, let's go 34-13. No, 34-17.
Oh, so you think we finna blow them out? I like that kind of talk. Yeah.
Don't get too happy now. I like Houston, but I get an opportunity to tell you what's going to be bad for him. I'm going to tell you what's bad for him.
I know it ain't going to be bad for him on November 18th when on Monday Night Football we play the Cowboys. We're going to be there, and you know that ain't going to be bad. Yeah, that's the game that's a blow. That's the game that's going to be 34-17. So we're looking forward to the Sunday night. You know which way. You know which way.
You're going to have a sad 2-hour drive home.
You crazy.
I'll tell you right now.
You crazy. That game's coming up. So y'all going to hear us trash talking about that game all season long. Unfortunately, it's at the end of the year, so y'all have to hear that all season. But want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today here on Centex Primetime. As we got a chance to go through some of these games, want to shout out PJ and Kyrell for jumping on here with me and talking some football here today. Folks, remember tomorrow is the Friday Night Light edition of Centex Primetime, as we'll be highlighting the games around the Central Texas area in high school football. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube Centex Sports Network. Also, make sure you download the app Centex Sports One, or you can go to CentexSports1.com to be able to listen to this weekdays 5 to 7. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Central Texas home for sports.